and welcome back to another episode of The Pilot Principle. This is the podcast where we take a look at just the first episode of a series, the pilot, and then use it to decide if we should watch the entire series. Now, on this episode of The Pilot Principle, we are breaking down episode 1 of Netflix's new, I want to say drama series, Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. A seductive series about a young woman trying to make ends meet and her entanglement with a powerful family's dark secret. Today, I am joined by the face of Sassy Jam Recommends, a popular TikTok account dedicated to letting you know what to watch, where to watch it, and if it's any good. My guest is also a TV producer. Welcome to The Pilot Principle, Satema Tarawally. Hello. Clap, 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 clap. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I did clap for myself there.
As you should. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself all the flowers for all your achievements. What shows have you worked on?
Yeah, so many good things. American Nightmare. I recently worked on Olivia Attwood's Price of Perfection. I worked on the newest season of 007 Road to a Million, and a number of other things that I, for some reason, have completely forgotten.
So tell me, or tell us, the listeners, a little bit about Sassy Jam Recommends, which is a recommendation platform that you started. Why did you start Sassy Jam Recommends?
That's such a good question. I think in lockdown, it got a bit quiet, I guess. There wasn't really much going on. They kept making us stay at home. It was dark. You couldn't sit in a park. So I was just like, oh, maybe I'll do a little thing where I just like do some... It actually started off as like little 5-minute videos. And I'd recommend 5 of them. And then I think I did that consistently from maybe October to December. And then in early 2021, I started doing them as like daily TikTok posts. At first, I literally repurposed the... existing ones, and then I just started to actually just recommend them daily, and now it's become an almost obsessive daily posting on that page. So yeah, it's just I watch so much TV, and people just I don't know what to watch, there's nothing on, I don't know what to watch, nothing on. It's actually there's so much on, and like when I originally started posting, I used to just post stuff I've already watched, and now it's like I'm watching stuff to post. But it's good, it's fun. It means I've seen most of stuff.
I was going to say I can't even imagine how much media that you consume in a week.
Yeah.
At a guess, give us numbers.
I don't know. Sometimes I forget to post stuff, so I don't even know how much. I watch stuff and I just forget. I don't know. I don't know what the average amount of time people watch on TV is, and I probably triple it, double it. I'm constantly watching TV. I'm constantly listening to podcasts. I very rarely just sit in silence.
Okay, brilliant. Well, noted. We will keep the conversation flowing, and we will come back and get some of your recommendations of things to watch soon. But we are here today to specifically talk about episode 1 only of Tyler Perry's Beauty in the Black. So what made you want to watch the series? Or is it just a case of you would pretty much watch anything that comes out? Or how do you go through that filtration process, and why did you land on this specific program?
Well, it's Tyler Perry's first, I think, series on Netflix. He's had quite a few on BET, and I mean, I'm always like willing to give it a go. I love like watching like black people on screen, so it's like, oh, maybe this will be really, really good, so like maybe it'll be really exciting. Yeah, and I tend to like tune in quite a lot to like what Tyler Perry's up to see if like maybe he's made his masterpiece. You never know. You
do never know.
And check in, see how he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he's been such a formative part of a lot of people's television experience. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I see that. Check in on old Uncle Perry, see what he's doing. He keeps putting his name in front of all titles of all his shows, as if we don't know that they are his. But no, and what you said specifically about wanting to see sort of black people in a program without it feeling contrived or anything like that. That's one of the reasons that drew me to watching Tyler Perry's. I keep wanting to call it Beauty in the Black, but I think he did a show called something in
Divorce in Black, yeah.
Divorce in the...
Yeah, he did that film, yeah.
So I think I keep wanting to say Beauty in the Black, but it's Beauty in Black.
Yes.
Brilliant. So let us talk, or look at, I should say, the logistics of the pilot episode. So we have a pilot title. I personally love a title. I don't know. How do you feel about titles in episodes?
I don't mind the title, but it's very rare that I would notice the title. Unless they had it on screen.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I can't remember, I was watching something the other day, and each episode, like, they literally will have it, like, almost like a contents page at the beginning, which is quite nice. But if they don't do that, I have no idea what's going on. Just going in blind.
So it's just me who's obsessed with titles, episode titles. Well, this one, the title is called Make It Rain.
Okay.
And the synopsis for the pilot tells us that in a bid to escape the strip club and Jules's control, Kimmie applies for a scholarship to the Beauty in Black hair school founded by the Ballarie family. We have an episode length of 43 minutes and a series length of 8 episodes. And of course, this is showing on Netflix. And I know I said this a bit before, but if there's one thing to know about Uncle Perry is that he will executive produce, he will write, he will direct, and he will create and give himself all the flowers for all of these things. So, and I know you recently did on your page a Tyler Perry
rewatch.
Yes. So tell us give us some of your top hits. If somebody was to be like, okay, I'm going to watch Beauty in Black and now I'm invested in the whole Tyler Perry lore, what would you say are your top few recommendations? Tyler Perry, go on the spot.
On the unlikely situation that would happen occasionally. Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I feel like when I watched it, there's a lot of nostalgia involved. I think if you watch it the first time, you might be like, this isn't that good, but I liked it, okay? Why Did I Get Married? It's a classic. It's so fantastic. And then, like, one that I rewatched and really liked and still liked, but it is a bit silly when you watch it, but it's starring Idris Elba, who I know you're a massive fan of, Jen. It's called Daddy's Girls, which I thought was quite good as well. And also another one that is actually on Netflix is called The Jazzman's Blues. A Jazzman's Blues is like a bit more of an epic, and it does still feel like a Tyler Perry movie, but I think it has a very different, it's not contemporary, and it just has like quite a different feeling. It's straight drama. There's really no comedy in it. It's not ridiculous. It's a bit of a big story, but it's really interesting. I really like that one. And I if I was going to give Tyler his flowers or anything, it would be for A Jazzman's Blues.
That's really interesting. I've never heard of that at all, so I will add that to my
It's on Netflix still.
list of things to watch. I'm not gonna lie, I never really grew up watching Tyler Perry. I think my first experience of one of his movies was when I was in uni, like my first or second year, and then a bunch of friends were like, let's watch Tyler Perry, and I was like, Tyler who now? And they're like, what, you've never seen Diary of a Mad Black Woman or something? And I was like, no, I haven't. So yeah, that's interesting to speak to somebody who has been following his work for years, and you can sort of chart his, I don't want to say progression.
I think because he was doing plays, right? And I used to have the DVDs of the plays. And then he got so big that he started making films. But it was quite quick succession of which the films were coming out. So it was just like Dive Mad Black Woman, then like another one. So it was quite fast. So like by the time we were in uni, it'd only really been 2 or 3 years. But he had amassed this like big log of films that you can watch, and I've watched his documentary as well, and like the way he works is that he's just like, I don't understand why you need to be on set for 3 months. That's his whole vibe. So he is
churning out the content.
He works smart, not hard. Well, no, I think he works hard and fast. That's what I should have said, just fast and hard.
Just a working man.
Yeah, he's just a working man.
Even though Tyler Perry would like to think this is just the Tyler Perry show, there is in fact a whole cast of characters that also go into the pilot episode of Beauty in Black. So the pilot stars Taylor Aline Polydor, who plays Kimmie, and Polydor has starred in Black Lightning, Snowfall, All American, Homecoming. Polydor also did star in Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black. I don't know if you recognised her.
At all, no.
Okay, that's fine. We also have Crystal Stewart, who plays Malory, and she starred in Tyler Perry's For Better or Worse and Tyler Perry's Acrimony.
I think he's got like a universe of actors.
I would say so.
Yeah.
And finally, one of the key cast members, Amber Rain Smith, who plays Rain. And she, I don't think has starred in any Tyler Perry things. Something called Cold and Windy and Christmas at the Frat House. The pilot also does star Julian Horton as Mystery Man Roy and Charles Malik Whitfield as Jules. You're saying you didn't recognise...
I don't even recognise the character names you just said. I've no idea what's been happening. It was the most not one well-known face. You know what I mean? Like not one face. Like, oh, I've seen you in this. It was like, oh, debut.
I did read that for Beauty and the Black, Tyler, first name basis.
Mr. Perry, I think is what he would like to be called.
Okay, Uncle Perry. Uncle Perry did want to include some of his legacy actors as well as giving a platform for newer actors. And I think that's actually something really important that he does in his work. There are so many really well-known actors, black actors who have had their starts or given like good starring, solid, not just background, not just the asexual black best friend roles. Gabrielle Union has starred in some of these things. Kerry Washington has starred. Taraji P. Henson. So
he's like quite well known for giving them their first like big paychecks. Because in Hollywood, if you've not been paid your $1 million, you won't get your $1 million. And he will make sure those stars get their rate. So he's the one who kind of ups their rate. Taraji has said that, and I think Kerry Washington as well, and also Cicely Tyson. You know, Oscar nominated like black legend. You know, credits Tyler. She's dead now. Credits Tyler Perry for that as well. Rest in peace. So I think you can rate him for that, and obviously he owns like the biggest studio in America, and it is named after Black Hollywood, and he does really support the stars. That's all. That's what we can say. When we start talking about the program, I'll say stuff in it. Don't think this is like some sort of like, oh, Tyler Perry. Oh, it's not what's happening.
You've been warned. So I know I said the series length was 8 episodes. Did you know that this is the part 1 drop of a 2-part drop? So this first 8 episodes, is actually part of a 16 episode full series. How in general do you feel about these like episode drops, especially that Netflix is doing? Like for example, Cobra Kai series, I think they're on 6, is now going to be coming out in 3 parts.
And they did that with Stranger Things.
They're doing it with and they did it with Bridgerton earlier this year, part 1 and part 2. As I said, Cobra Kai is in 3 parts. Personally, when I know that it's coming out in parts, I won't even bother watching episode 1 because I'm likely going to forget everything that happens.
Yes, because it's like 3, sometimes it's like 2 months or whatever. I don't like it. I don't like waiting. It's either drop it week by week or drop it week by week. I won't mind waiting every single week to watch it. Like Netflix used to show things weekly, and there's nothing like wrong with that. I guess it's trying to get those returnables and see like how quickly will people watch stuff and stuff, but it's just like I don't see the point.
I honestly think it's just a tactic to keep people on the platform, because a lot of people these days with so many streaming platforms pick and choose. Like for example, I don't have Apple TV, I don't have Paramount.
That is a big miss.
I mean, I know, but there's just so many, and I think that's the point. So I know a few people who will stop their Netflix account for a couple of months, go and get a different account.
Even free trial it.
Yeah, go to a different platform and then come back. Whereas if you're putting out all these drops, you're basically convincing people to stay on your platform for longer and not to give up that subscription, I think. I don't know. Right. Before we get into the episode, if you have made it this far and you are enjoying yourself, tap that follow button. And if you're not too strained after that, then give the podcast an honest 5-star rating. Thank you very much. So let us get into talking about the first 10 minutes of Make It Rain. What's that you say, Satema? Why the first 10 minutes? Well, because the first 10 minutes sets the tone, it sets up the main characters and the plot, which will propel you into watching the rest of the episode or the series.
So they hope.
So they hope indeed. So I'm going to run through what the first 10 minutes of Beauty in the Black looks like. If I miss anything out, let me know.
Okay.
So the first 10 minutes goes like this. Kimmie walks into a hotel room where a man who is high or doing drugs starts verbally abusing her, calling her a whore, calling her stupid, generally bullying and belittling her. I literally clutched my pearls though when he said to her, "How am I supposed to get you out of the shadows when you look like you belong there?" I had to take a minute there.
She did look kind of rough though.
Kimmie, thankfully, then leaves. However, it is at his request, not her own. And then says to herself, "I can't keep doing this shit." No, you can't, girl. We then cut to a hotel with the series title really jarringly superimposed on top. Really confused me for a moment there. And this hotel is hosting the Beauty in Black Summit. Kimmie and her friend Rain chat about their lives, and in this really long conversation, we learn that because of an incident, they are indebted to somebody called Jules. Indebted is a strong word. Trapped is probably a better word, because if they don't do what he says, he's going to put them in jail. They essentially work as prostitutes to pay off their debt, and Rain is quite content with her life and talks about getting a cheap BBL, while Kimmie wants to leave the life behind her, which is why she has applied for a scholarship for the Beauty in Black hairdressing school, something that an unsupportive Rain isn't happy about. Kimmie, alone, takes her seat at the summit as the host introduces Mrs. Malory Ballarie, who talks about her humble beginnings turned successful business owner. Unfortunately, the host then announces that the scholarship winners won't be announced for a few hours, so Kimmie, who is already running late for work, leaves. And that is the first 10 minutes. What did you think about the first 10 minutes?
Okay, so first things first, she walks into the hotel room. It's all a bit weird. He's quite aggressive. As you said, yeah, he insults like what she's wearing and stuff, and she's like, yeah, you're right, it's not good enough. Very odd. Anyway, that's weird. But then they go to this conference, and as you said, she's with her friend Rain. They have this whole conversation, and then she's like, okay, let's go into the talk. And then Rain's like, we've got work. Why are you there then?
Yeah, I thought the exact same.
What's happening?
Yeah, you just went to this random... Did you
just stand in the corridor?
Your friend... So Kimmie led her blindly there?
Yeah, like, it's so bizarre. Also...
I thought they were at the mall, to be honest.
Kimmie was wearing, like, a butterfly, like, top. She looked dreadful. And, like, glitter eyeliner.
She was dressing for both the summit and the club. She said, I'm here now, but I've got work later.
She looked horrendous. I was like... She was like, I really want to better my life. I'm like, why are you dressed like that? Yeah. And then we kind of had this, like, overly nicey woman on the stage. Really... They asked a question, though. I think they asked her a question. I don't think she answered the question. She just sort of ran. She was just like, so how did you end up in this position? She was like, so when I was born.
She really said, rewind the clock. Let me gather around, everybody. Let me tell you about my life.
And what was the story as well? The story was that, like, she was a foster child growing up in foster care, and her foster mother didn't like her, but took her and another child to a modelling scout. And then her future father-in-law saw her and really liked her. And then she said she was 9 at the time. And I was like, weird. And he's like, he really took her in and would take her on holidays. I was like, it's giving grooming.
Yeah.
And then eventually me and the son fell for each other. And then at 16 we got together, and at 22 we got married. And then I said, I don't want to be, I think she says, I didn't want to be paid. I wanted equity.
Yeah.
And then they all start clapping. I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah. I didn't want to be a figurehead. I didn't just want a paycheck. I was like, okay, first of all, buzz. Did I understand it? Not quite, but buzz. I mean, everybody else clapped. I almost felt like clapping. They adored her. And I think they did a really good job with that sort of setting up her
public persona.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially as well in comparison to how we first meet Kimmie.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really interesting peppering of the two. And also, I'm just going to say it, her friend is trash.
Yeah.
There is an argument for the fact that she's just content with her life. And some people are just content with their lives and they're not going to try to get out of it. That's fine for you, but your friend is trying to do something better for herself. And you're like, you're probably not going to get that scholarship. You might as well just go back to the club with me right now. This is ridiculous that you're trying to get out of the situation that we're in. I thought that was really bizarre behaviour from someone who's supposed to be your BFF, especially as we learned that the two of them met when they were like 18 and presumably that was like, I don't know, 20 years ago.
I think that presumption might be quite. I don't think that's a good presumption.
What do you mean?
I feel like they're still really young.
Oh, the 20 years.
Yeah, I feel like they're literally like 20.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Girl, that's my bad.
I think they're both really young. I think you've just kind of like referenced there, like in the moving on in the episodes, like the flashbacks.
Yeah.
They're weird, aren't they?
Yeah.
They don't feel like we needed it yet. We weren't like, oh, I so need to know what happened here. How did you end up here? I didn't have that question yet.
No.
I think her friend's a bit wayward and really strange. But still, why were they both even there?
Yes. When she knew she had work, well, that's why she dressed that way, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know if it was, because that's not what she wore at work. Anyway.
As we already started talking about Kimmie, let's just talk about her specifically as a character. And what did you think about her overall?
Annoying. I feel like she was very, quite passive. I didn't feel like... So her and this girl, Rain, I guess or Angel, have put themselves in this situation. They're not put themselves, they're in this dreadful situation and they're like constantly scared and they're on edge and they're being shouted at all the time. And then you're just a bit like, you feel sorry for her, but like it doesn't make you sympathise with her per se.
I know this is going to sound terrible, but she's also like a really bad hoe. And I understand that she doesn't want to be in this situation, but in terms of her character, it almost doesn't make sense. She's constantly crying. She never wants to be there. I do find it weird that everybody says that she's giving them attitude when she is probably the nicest person in this entire...
Yeah, she's not rude. She doesn't talk up. She doesn't huff or puff. She just like...
Yeah, she's... I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or she says, I'm sorry.
I'm late. I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. And I almost felt like that didn't work with her character. Yeah. I know she has a debt to pay, but couldn't you put her in accounts? I
don't really understand this, you've got the debt to pay sort of thing. It just, honestly, from the first episode, prison would be better.
100%. Prison or death. They also threaten Kimmie with death if she doesn't.
And it's like, just go to jail then.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living in a motel. A weekly motel, and they're like, oh, we need to pay rent this month. I'm like, surely you're not paying rent.
And yeah, it's just, you're right, it doesn't quite make sense with who, again, perhaps, as you're saying, they're younger than I think they are.
Yeah.
So how long have they been in this situation? You don't really have an idea of. Obviously, Kimmie's trying to get out of this situation. She's like, they're taking our money. We don't have anything for ourselves. We're living in this crappy hotel. I want to do better for myself by getting this scholarship. Was there nothing else she could try to do to better herself?
Or even just get a job in a hairdresser's.
Yes, specifically.
If you can do hair.
Yeah, I mean, and that's specifically for her character in the pilot episode. It looks like they work at night, you know? What are you doing during the day? I know they're taking all your money at night, but Kimmie also isn't making very much money.
Yeah, that's another thing they've kind of built up is like, oh, you're not making any money.
Because she's not a good hoe.
Because she's not a very good stripper. She's not very, she's not a good stripper. But then at one point, she's requested by this gentleman. But even that whole thing, why did we need to, is there more to that story, or?
I have my theories about that, but we'll get to that. But you're right, in terms of her being requested, she's not even good at this thing that she doesn't even want to do. And that's, obviously, I wouldn't want to be a hoe trapped to this guy called Jules and have jail threatened over my life either. But I feel like they're trying to give her character too much. She's really sought after. Why?
Also, I must say, not one of the strippers that we've seen so far are very good dancers at all. So there's a character that we should talk about called Body. Body seems to be a henchman for this Jules person and is really cussing out, thingy, constantly just effing and blinding at her. She's just get on the floor for I call Jules and get your ass killed. And then she goes to go dance and I was like, this is so mid. And at one point they're like, no one's gonna see you. No, I think they even say to Kimmie, no one's even gonna look at you with Body out there. And I was like, Body ain't even really bodying like that. Body ain't shaking that ass she is not.
She clearly watched J-Lo's Hustlers and tried to imitate that, but is doing a poor job.
Yeah, because J-Lo danced.
Yes, I watched Body's performance and immediately wanted to go and watch Hustlers to see it done better.
I thought of Hustlers too. I was just J-Lo did an Oscar. People literally said she should win an Oscar for how well she portrayed a stripper. And they meant that with every ounce of their being, right? And this woman, besides her, body, there is nothing that is, very good. Just even her body roll was weak. Yeah. It was just really dead. The stripping was not, that good. And even when Kimmie's doing, the private dance, and then, the guy who's she's doing a private dance for gets distracted. I think he likes men. But he gets distracted. But, you weren't doing good enough for job anyway. And it was really awkward. She's like, the dance costs this much, blah, blah, blah. And then she just starts doing some weak-ass moves.
She doesn't want to be there.
I know she doesn't, and I don't know.
And it just feels weird that she doesn't want to be there, but they're forcing her to be there. But I find the whole thing bizarre.
But I also don't understand the dynamic with this man, the man who mistreated her. I don't understand why he would choose. Does he just, is it is his kink degrading women.
I was thinking that because I don't know where men learn this behaviour.
Because there's not like one scene where he's like, seems to be enjoying himself. He's just really angry. But
he keeps requesting her for some inane reason.
And he's like, if you mess up, you'll go to jail too. And I was like, why do you have this information? You're just a client. What's happening?
But let's go back to Kimmie, and we had some weird flashbacks in the episode. They really took me by surprise because, I don't know, did they use the same actress and just try to make her face look younger? Yeah.
They just changed her hair.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe they're the same age or close to the same age. But obviously, Kimmie is clearly in her 30s as the actress. But they made, she is playing a 17-year-old, 18-year-old in the flashbacks.
And I think there are 2 flashbacks. And the first one we sort of see...
The first one is her stepdad has molested her.
Yeah.
And then her and her mum is confronting him. And then he persuades her to not care. Yeah. And then the next one is her mum abandoning her with not so much as a bag.
At night? Like, I'm sorry. I mean, if you're going to abandon your child, why abandon her at night in an abandoned mall parking lot? Of all the places. I mean,
not even a carrier bag, not even a bin bag full of clothing, nothing.
She just tenner and said, be on your way.
She said, here's $10, leave. You can't stay, you're old. And I'm like, give her, she has no clothes. Not a toothbrush?
Just nothing. You're 17 now, you're going to be 18 next month, and that means you should leave me in the middle. Just drop me off at the bus station in the middle of the day, please, Mum, is the least you could do. Pre-warn me that actually you were about to ditch me because I could have packed a bag.
She told us to get out of the car, but she didn't even say, I packed your bags for you. And she clearly had planned the day out.
The day out that started.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're going to spend the day together one last time.
She was like, you can't be around him anymore. Bye.
I mean, I guess she really wanted to sell the whole, let's go on a drive, hun. Psych, I'm leaving you, and you're never going to see your younger sister again either. Because there were 2 of them.
It's like a little family.
A little family without Kimmie.
I feel like Kimmie could have just gone home. I don't know, she could have just like gone and not, please let me back in. Like, I wouldn't mind a clip of that. Like, did you really just go, yeah, my mum's from me out and I'm over? I guess maybe they're setting Kimmie up to be like really a pushover sort of vibes.
But that's quite interesting because in the episode, Rain kept saying things like, oh, you'll burn his house down, or you feisty. And I just kept thinking, is there another side to this Kimmie that we haven't seen yet? Because, of course, with pilots, with most shows, everything starts before you turn on the TV. They technically have had lives beforehand. This world, in a sense, pre-exists. So I'm wondering, is there something to Kimmie that we don't know yet? And the fact that everybody kept saying that she has attitude, even though she didn't. She said please enough for everybody in the entire episode. So I don't know. It's just a bit weird. I don't really like her character, I would say.
No.
I don't not like her, but I feel like I'm not quite sympathising with her. I wonder, unless they're sort of pumping her character with so much sadness and reason to then later on switch up. Speaking of switch ups, the next of the 2, I would say, main characters in the pilot to talk about is Malory, I want to say Ballarie. Malory Ballarie.
Nice.
She, when we meet her in the opening, is the founder of Beauty in Black. But after the 10 minutes, we then do see a switch up in her character.
Yeah.
So it does first start with when she is leaving the summit and she's got a bunch of adoring fans.
She's shaking hands. She's like, oh,
she's kissing babies. She's like, I'm so loved. Great. And then a woman serves her. So hands her papers. Yeah. She's been subpoenaed?
Yeah.
She's being sued.
She's
being sued. And the woman who is hands her the serving papers says something along the lines of the fact that her relaxers has given some people cancer.
I don't think that's the job of the server.
It isn't.
I don't think that would happen either.
It's not supposed to.
If you're served, they don't like... And I'm sure Mr. Perry has been served himself, so I don't know why he... I'm joking. I do not know that. Allegedly. I do not know that. I don't know what that would be, because it's like you wouldn't pick a server that would say other things. You just say you've been served and you take a picture. That's your job.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you've been caught on this. And then like as soon as she gets in the taxi, she almost aggressively starts berating her staff you're like, whoa, you're horrible.
Yeah.
Like, so now everyone we've met in the show is horrible.
Yeah.
By the way, like, there's not one kind, funny character.
That's Kimmie. Minus the funny. she doesn't laugh.
Yeah, I
once.
guess Kimmie's meant to be like the nice. Everyone is like horrible, shouting, mean. They're like, no, that man. Okay, first man we meet, mean. Kimmie's just there, and then her friend is a bit leave it, and then like the two women at work, Body and I don't know, Big Mama. What's her name? Do you know her name?
I don't know her name.
There's just two women just constantly bracing her.
Yeah.
And then we do meet this character that they're working for, Casper or
Jules. Yeah.
And he once again shouting and screaming at her. And then we get into this woman and you're like, oh, she's gonna, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
The switch up was wild, but really well done, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see it coming.
I agree. I thought it would be more like just different. She was just like, if you can't do your job, blah blah blah, like really horrid energy. And then she throws out both her assistant and the security guard. She's just like, get the fuck out of my car.
It's actually, and the fact that it's not even funny, but yes, she's absolutely horrific to her staff. But as soon as them doors close, the way she starts slating all of these people who have just come out to champion her and cheer her on. Which one of you idiots convinced me to give away $1 million to that woman who's probably a crackhead, and the money's probably going to be gone within a month.
And then she was just like, that baby vomited on me. It's got like and it's like, who even asked you to hold the baby?
Yeah, it's the switch up. Didn't see it coming. Really well done, I will say. Although it is filling the show with more dislikable. It's just quite hard to watch, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
there's no like, oh, like this is nice, or like, oh, I want to see what happens to these people. You're a bit like, well, you're a bad person. I don't feel for you. I don't feel any sort of like sympathy for you, because she receives a phone call also, which is where these characters interlink.
Yeah, so we have been so far Kimmie's mystery man, who is horrible to her, as everybody is. But
I think she's a client. Maybe we don't really understand that dynamic.
The mystery guy that she goes into the hotel room of at the beginning, we then later on learn
is the husband of this Malory woman, and who we've heard about in the story as he's the son of the rich man who she was bought by and then fell in love with. And then he goes to the bathroom, and then she goes, call my wife, to Siri on the phone, I guess. And then she goes, Daddy, come back. And then like suddenly he's able to perform, even though he is clearly something's wrong with him, because every time she tries to do something, he's like, it's not working.
I mean, he's clearly on a lot of drugs. I mean, literally.
He's got, he's pushing right because he's done a lot of coke.
And there is so much of it in the room. I thought he was having a party. It turns out all of the drugs was just for him. Were just for him. Grammar doesn't matter in this case. Either way. So, okay, but focusing back on Malory.
Yeah.
Clearly, there is a relationship issue happening. Do you think she knew that her husband was cheating on her? Do you think her husband knows that she's a horrible person?
I think they're both horrible people. I don't think they've got like... I just can't believe a man can behave like that to anyone, because it's not like a little bit. It's so incredibly aggressive, and the way she behaved was so incredibly aggressive. I can't fathom that they would be like sweet and kind to each other. And if they were, ew.
Yeah, that's also really messed up. That's, I'm guessing, all kinds of signs of psychopathy. I get turning it off for 3 hours in front of a large crowd, but you saw the way as soon as the door closed on that car, back to her real self. Like
was
that.
it? And I feel like I might accidentally start the next episode, but was it in this episode that the happened?
Mm-hmm. But we will get to that.
Just making sure, because I was like,
yes.
did I keep watching?
So with Malory, there is little redeeming qualities to her. Again, but then the two characters, though, at some point will likely intersect. And by that, I mean Kimmie and Malory. How do you think that would go?
Well, we know that Malory's not a nice person. I don't know why Malory would interact with the scholarship winners, because she hates human beings, from what we've read so far.
But other people don't know she hates human beings. That's a secret.
That's true. But I obviously, like, they've set it up as like there's a scholarship. We don't really understand, like, for the beauty school, but because there's a lack of like real structure in that, it's not like we've seen Malory what we've seen her in this conference, but it's not like we've seen her in her empire sort of vibes. So maybe that will be in the next episode, so we can kind of see where Kimmie would be as opposed to where she is now.
Yeah.
But I think those interact. And also, even though she does tell this man, she does call the wife and kind of get him stitches him up a bit. You don't know if she knows who
he is or who they are or who, because obviously he's just saved his wife's name in his phone as wife, hence why she could say, hey Siri, call my wife. So yes, so I guess we will see how the two characters, I mean, she's just such a pushover, it's hard to see her, because I want to believe that Kimmie has the propensity to, if we're looking at antagonist protagonist, Kimmie arguably is the protagonist, and at some point she should arguably be able to take down the antagonist. And now it is time for a quick interlude to see what film and TV life is looking like beyond the pilot principle.
Ooh.
But I am taking a back seat for this one because we have the queen of recommendations here. So, Satema, over to you. Tell me first of all, are you reading any books?
Am I reading any books?
Yes.
Jen, you might have bought me a book in March and I might still be on chapter 10.
Well, okay, forget reading. Let's swap reading in this case for podcasts. So aside from, of course, the Pilot Principle podcast, which you tune into weekly.
Obviously.
What other podcasts could you recommend for somebody to go and take a listen to? What's new? What have you been listening to? What would you recommend?
Gosh, well, I've actually just been doing a bit of a look back on some podcasts because I don't want to say it, but I think I might have completed podcasts. I listen to all the new ones. Like, I'm very fast on all of them. So at the moment, I'm actually waiting for new episodes of a podcast called Broadwin to come out. It's an Australian podcast by the Australian newspaper. And in that podcast, so basically the Australian has become famous for a podcast they did called Teacher's Pet, in which they basically investigated a story of a missing woman who went missing in the 1970s, and her husband moved in his former student a week after she went missing, and then she hasn't been seen since, and it actually led to like litigation, let's just say, which was really a great listen. So they're kind of, because of that, lots of other cases have come to them, and the most recent case the case that's on this new podcast is called Broadwin, and it's about a young woman who's 29. She apparently left behind her 2 kids to go on a 2-week break and never came back. So the question is, did her husband murder her?
That sounds like the natural thought process to me too.
That is the question. So these investigation podcasts are so excellent because they really talk to like all of the evidence around it and like all the things that the police might have missed out, because they kind of just have like, I don't know, it's Australia, innit? It's not putting the best light on Australia, but I don't know if it's like the police sort of just like thinking, oh yeah, we'll just take whatever the husband says, we'll take his word. He said she went away, instead of like searching the house, asking all neighbours, asking like previous lovers, like all of these things. They don't really do that much, so it really goes into all of that, and it's quite interesting. So they have started releasing episodes for season 2, but it's on there, it's exclusive to subscribers, so I'm waiting for it to be out on Spotify because I'm not paying for another subscription. I'm deep in the mess. I'm so deep in the mess of subscriptions. I actually got a Wondery subscription to listen to another podcast called Ghost Story, which is just so bizarre. It's about this man, and he was like, I grew up and my room was haunted when I was growing up. Oh. And then he finds out that next door, his wife's grandfather lived next door, and her grandmother was killed in the house next door. So the idea is like, is that ghost your grandmother? And if it is her ghost, is she trying to tell me something? It's another one like, what happened there? Fantastic. It was just really like nice to listen to, and it wasn't too serious because it was a murder for so long ago. It wasn't like someone was in jail now and talking about that. In the Dark, season 3, is this case of Curtis Flowers, which is a man who had been in jail since 1996 for the murder of 4 people in a furniture shop in Mississippi. And yeah, he was in jail, and the trial he'd gone to trial 6 times for this case.
Wow.
3 times it was thrown out of court, and other times it had been upheld for various reasons. So 3 times it was the jury, and in those juries it's the only time where it was an all-white jury, that they couldn't come to conclusion. The other 3 times they they had to do it got mistrials because of like misconduct from the DA, but he just kept retrialing it. So this man had been in jail, not left since the day he was arrested, for circumstantial evidence of him being in jail. And I listened for hours. I couldn't do anything else. Couldn't sleep. You know, I couldn't speak to my family. I was there 20 episodes in. I was like, I need to know what happens to Curtis. And that was very, very satisfying listen. So there are so many. I love an investigation like podcasts that I always will recommend. Like they're so good. And I'll do one last one because it links to a TV thing as well. Sweet Bobby, great podcast. Is an investigation, but more of a story than an investigation, because there's only so much you can investigate in this situation. But it is a crazy catfishing story, and it's just been made into a Netflix documentary. But I would say if you watch a Netflix documentary, just go and listen to the podcast. You can watch a Netflix documentary. There's nothing wrong with that. I know the filmmakers, good for them, well done, cool. But the podcast has got something different because this investigation, things they can mention are different to the way you can legally. There's actually a lot you can't cover in visual docs, and I think people need to like understand that when people say go and listen to podcasts, it's because they can just say shit. They can just honestly, sometimes you listen to a podcast and knock on someone's door and be like, were you involved in the murder? But in a documentary, they're not going to do that. You can't accuse people of murdering someone on a documentary legally, and they're just like, we can't do that.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I don't know why, but I guess it's more like journalistic in like podcasting. So it's almost like it's just more journalistic. So it's quite interesting. But yeah, those are some podcast recommendations.
I don't know which one I want to listen to first. I look like the ghost one had me. It was
a 15-second trailer. I went, okay. Wondery. $5.99.
Okay, let's move on to film. You recently went to the London Film Festival.
I did. I had no idea what you were going to say there. I was like,
what did I do? Tell me. And you saw 2 films.
Yes.
Tell me about what you saw at the film festival.
Yes, just saw 2 films because I did not get a press pass like someone. And it's quite expensive. I you know, obviously film festivals, they happen all around the world, so I'm happy to have seen anything. So I saw Nickel Boys, which I think you saw as well, and then I saw I'm Your Venus, so that was a documentary, I'm Your Venus, and that was about Venus Extravaganza, who was one of the stars of Paris is Burning, which is a 1991 seminal documentary about the ballroom scene, which like it's really like the it's trans community that like Pose is based off of in New York in the late 80s, but she at the end of the documentary, spoiler alert, which is found, they were told that she had been murdered, and this kind of like looks at her murder and like her family, her birth family and her sort of ballroom family trying to keep her legacy alive, and it is incredibly moving, really well done, really liked it. And then Nickel Boys, which you both saw, so we can both discuss that one, which is about what they called a reform school. Are they reform schools? Reform school. Yeah, and it's based on a book, but the book is based on a real life reform school.
Yes,
so
in Florida.
Yeah, so it's taken those stories. I went and saw it in freaking Royal Festival Hall, which is so big. I walked in, I was like, oh my god! I thought this was going to be an intimate screening. I bought snacks.
Oh yeah, that's the worst of the film festival. It's sitting in those press screenings, trying to really quietly eat popcorn was really just not the one. I didn't know the etiquette.
Mate, before I sat there with headphones, if someone came and sat next to me, he was like, so, and I was like, oh, I don't want to talk.
At least your screenings were at sociable hours.
Yes.
As opposed to 8:30 in the morning.
Crazy.
Where I normally just rocked up with a cup of tea and biscuits that I had to very quietly...
I think I saw you afterward, and it was just like, yeah, you were in comfy mode. There was no like, oh, going to the cinema. It was just like, no, I'm going to a dark room at 8:30 a.m.
It's a bit of me, innit? It's a bit of me. And finally, on television, what is new that you are currently watching and enjoying? Just a couple of headlines.
Yes, disclaimer on Apple TV. I know you don't have Apple TV, but that is really good. I don't know it's so good. It's like this woman basically receives a book, and the book clearly is about her, and she's a bit like, how the hell do they know this? What's going on? And then through the episodes, you learn more about what is in the book, and it kind of like tears her life apart, and it's quite good. It's starring Kate Blanchett and Sacha Baron Cohen, which is random. All the scenes Sacha Baron Cohen are really shaky for some reason, for effect. So I don't know if it's trying to reflect his personality, but yeah, it's really good. Last episode was even a bit erotic. I was like blushing.
I do love me a bit of Kate Blanchett.
When you watch it, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But they have like a young Kate Blanchett kind of character, and there's a really funny scene where she's just like, my body's been ruined from childbirth, and it's like the most perfect body you've ever seen, and you're like, where? But that is a good one that I would recommend to watch now.
Okay, I always say that Apple TV has some of the best TV that nobody's watching.
Yeah.
I think Apple TV, I think it's a mixed bag. Apple TV almost came too late. So a lot of people had already signed up and just agreed to things like Netflix and Prime Video and Disney Plus. And then it's like, but I think it's like the fourth one that broke the streaming catalogs back.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know they've got some amazing, and also I do hear that they don't advertise
They
very
don't,
well.
and even advertising the platform, as you said, like, so we had Netflix, we had Prime Video, cool, you know we have those, right? And I guess in America, Hulu, we know we have those, and then like Apple dropped around the same time as Disney, but Disney were prepping us for months. They were like, Disney's coming, watch The Lady and the Tramp, it's gonna be so exciting, exclusive to Disney, Marvel, blah blah blah. They kept giving us all these things. They were dragging things off Netflix.
I was there
Instantly. I was like, I must get this thing. Where with Apple, it was like, I think I even subscribed for it because I just bought a new phone and it gave me a free subscription. And I went, okay.
I'm gonna tell you something terrible. I had a free 3-month trial of Apple TV.
You didn't watch?
I didn't watch a single thing.
Girl, you missed out.
I just forgot.
You can find another free trial. They let you do loads.
I forgot.
That's one thing about them.
I do need to. I'm gonna sit down and just give myself 3 months and blitz through.
You might be able to get a free 3 months on Sky.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sign me up when I've got time.
Yes.
Because I just didn't end up watching anything. Terrible. But okay, some great films, some great documentaries, and some great TV recommendations. But we are, of course, here to talk about the pilot episode of Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. So
That's the main thing I'm watching, obviously.
Obviously. So let's get back into talking about that. It's time to make it rain. That's the name of the pilot episode. I'm just trying to read it. I'm trying to get it in there. I hope you're going to start paying attention to pilot
Rain
titles.
really wanted to make it rain, didn't she?
She really, she really did there, didn't she? So let's talk about the end of episode Hook.
Yeah.
For the pilot episode of Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. So I would say there were 3 major things that happened at the end of the episode. The first, as you alluded to already, is that Kimmie calls Mystery Man's wife so that Mystery Man's wife can hear that her husband is cheating on her, and the wife, of course, turns out to be Mrs. Horrible, but pretends to be lovely on the surface, Malory. The second thing is that Malory is distracted by her husband's infidelity in the dark, rainy night on this random back road, and she hits a jogger. And of course, as we know from Malory, she then drives right off.
Does she get out? Or
She does. She does
get out. She barely acknowledges the body. She's like, okay, and then she gets in her car.
I think that's the worst thing you can do in a hit and run. Like, you either get out of the car and you do something about it, or you stay in the car and keep driving and just be like, I thought I hit a deer. Because if somebody sees that you stopped, anyway, we're not going to get into the ins and outs of how to properly get away with murder. And the last thing that happens at the end of the episode is that Kimmie comes home. Well, home is a strong term, but home is where the heart is.
Hotel.
And when she comes home, she finds Rain, her bestie, passed out from a botched BBL job.
So they kind of foreshadow this, like, from the first conversation. Rain is like, oh, I've been saving up. I'm going to get my body done. Body's recommending this nurse.
Classic Body.
Body. And then Body, like, her whole interaction with Rain in the club is just like, you're going to get your butt. You have to do it so you can make some money. Do you want to pay off your debt? You got to make some money. Get your body. She did my body. You're going to get your body. You're going to be fine. And it's just really great. She's like, don't worry. I'm going to plan it so we can. And then, like, Rain is like, oh, I feel like Kimmie will be really angry if I do get my body done. And I feel like that's kind of a weird dynamic there of like, oh, she'll be disappointed, so I don't really want to do it, she's really worried, sort of thing. And then, like, Body's just like, let's do it anyway. So they sneak off, and then Body gets to their motel and is like, girl, is this where you're living? The ghetto. And she was like, yeah, and you guys are struggling to pay for this.
She's not nice. She's another, as we were saying, all the characters are not good.
Yeah.
And she's another not good person.
Mm-hmm. Completely. And then she starts to give her alcohol. And she's like, that's what I did before I did it. And it's like, well, that's the first sign of this going really wrong.
The whole thing was
I think maybe the third sign. I think the first sign was that it was $1,500. $1,500. Not even $1,500, yeah? Like, that's not a lot of money.
It's not. It's like £1,000
for an elective, any sort of procedure. Do you know what I mean? Braces cost more than that, bruv. Like, are you sure? So that's like the first thing that was a bit alarming. And then I think the second thing that was alarming is that she said, "Oh, don't worry, she'll come to you."
My stomach literally
I was not looking forward to it.
Turned when the woman who turns up, Deva, whatever.
Deja looks botched herself.
She turned up, opened up her case of tricks, and we saw foam.
Yeah.
I felt sick to my stomach. But I think you touched on a really good point, and it's that what happens with Rain was built up throughout the episode.
Yeah.
You know, from those first 10 minutes where she's like, oh, you know, our life is always going to be the club. I can't wait to get my boobs done and my ass done so I can keep making money at the club. And that dynamic between her and Kimmie, the fact that she's like, oh, but Kimmie won't be happy, but she does it anyway. And I guess from all those things that happen at the end of the episode, did it make you want to keep watching?
Small.
Okay.
Not because I think it's going to be good, but I just wouldn't mind knowing what happens.
Okay, so you'd say it ended... Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. I think I'd agree with you.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, first of all, you need to know how is the wife going to... Because, like, how is she... Because she's not sad about this. Like, how many times have you knocked someone out? In fact, actually, there is a point where she's talking to her security and she was just like, you need to kill that bitch that served me. And I'm like, what the heck? I feel like that was too much. Like, that really escalated the situation.
Yes.
So you're like, how bad, how evil is she? And then you're like, okay... Is she going to confront her husband? But then it's like, you're all bastards anyway. Surely you know this. Also, you want to know if Rain is dead from the botched BBL. Because it's absolutely horrible, the scene that Kimmie walks into.
Yeah.
You're quite considerably worried about her. And then you also... What was the last thing that happened then, wasn't it?
The jogger, the wife, and the BBL. Those are the main things.
So I think that is enough to like keep going, even for just a few minutes to see what's happening.
And I think, do you know what? A hit and run is almost a perfect tropey ending to any pilot. Will they get caught for this hit and run? Will the person who they hit and or
who even are they?
Yeah, who are they? When will they be found? How will this come out? This already just pulls out possible threads for the series, the serial arc. Okay, now it's time for one of my favourite moments. Let's get wild with some series predictions.
Okay.
What do you think is going to happen over the course of, let's call it the 8 episodes, because obviously this is a series that's been split into 2 parts. So let's just call it part 1. Actually, it doesn't even matter. Go wild. What do you think is going to happen?
I think these characters are so unpredictable, like, because they're just not, like, they're not written as, like, I don't know, we're not getting a good description of who they are as human beings besides horrible. Do I think Rain will die of the BBL?
Nah, she'll be fine.
You think she'll be fine?
Yeah, she'll be fine. She'll have to go to hospital, but...
She hasn't got any insurance.
And Kimmie's going to have to pay off her debt at the club. She's going to be like, well, you're going to have to work for the 2 of you now, Kimmie. Or your ass is going back to prison. That's what I'm thinking.
Also, they kept saying back to prison. I was like, are they going to prison? Are they going back to prison? Explain the crime.
Yes.
And it happened in an airport. That's what they start hinting. Oh, it happened in an airport.
Said something like, oh, you tried to move drugs through an airport. How stupid are you both? I guess very. I don't answer that question, but you're right. They did keep flipping between send your ass back to prison. I guess technically they were caught. Who caught them?
But then it's like, did Jules get them out of prison? Because Jules is an illegal guy. You can tell.
It's true.
He doesn't have a legal bone in his body.
Yabba dabba doesn't.
You wouldn't speak to a human being like that if you're a legal guy. Like,
do you think Kimmie's going to get out of the whole life?
What, and go to beauty school? This is so silly. It's such a silly show.
But I guess...
Why are these two things...
Beauty school is a gateway, right?
It's so silly. Think about it.
I mean...
ridiculous this show is.
And I think you're right. It's so wildly unpredictable, the characters and things. Everything they've set up, you actually have no idea when any of this stuff goes. However, I do have one theory. So, when Kimmie is in the club being requested to dance with this older gentleman for some reason, he requested their worst dancer. We see him, of course, peeping through the gap, and he's staring at men because he's probably gay.
Yeah.
Closeted. However, I think he's going to be, you know how Malory was talking about how...
The father-in-law.
Yeah, he came and picked her up out of obscurity at the age of 9 and took her travelling around the world. I think that's going to be him. I think that's secretly her father-in-law.
Why do you go to a public strip club to get a fake lap dance? He could just buy a man to come and service him. That would be really confusing, but I hear it, yeah.
And he does say like something really weird. Oh, your generation.
You're sick.
I'm not gonna lie though, Kimmie is wild. Just a dance. You don't even have to dance well because you know that he's not paying you any attention. And then he's just like, she was like, oh, do you want me to go and get him for you? What are you talking? Read the room.
Why would you
Kimmie.
lose your dollars? Like, what's wrong with you?
Read the room. He's like, what are you talking about?
She really isn't trying to pay off that debt. That's one thing about Kimmie. She ain't bothered. She does not want to work. Even the guy said, I know I'm not dressed right. Kimmie, if you know you're not dressed right, dress right. Say to Jules, I'm not dressed right. He'll just be upset. And even that whole conversation where he was like, you got to go back. It was a bit like, why does he need to see you in person to tell you that? Is it just so he can meet Jules?
That's another thing. What is it that Jules and this mysterious man who we kind of now know is going to be the wife of Malory? What
man wife?
What dealings did the two of these worlds have with each other?
Why? That's my question. That's why I can't conclude it, because it's like, what is the connection between these two worlds? Sure, she wants a scholarship, but that still doesn't connect these two worlds in any way, shape, or form. And it's like, Kimmie is not giving high-end hooker. No offense, Kimmie.
I think she'd be glad of what you said. Yeah, I think she'd be quite happy to not be giving high-end hooker vibes.
Like, she's not really giving high-end hooker, so why is it because he wants to treat her really badly? If that's the vibe, cool, but like, I don't know. She makes it seem, and it is really odd. It's just like, if you don't please him, you're
what? I'm gonna send your ass back to
and
jail.
It's like, what?
Why?
It's like, just send him someone else.
Now, overall, as a pilot, what would you say that it was successful in? Because for me, I will say that the one thing I do think that the episode 1 did really well is setting up Malory.
Yeah.
It's almost like a one-trick pony. So now we know that she is a demon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to begin with, we didn't. And we're like, oh, how lovely. Oh, that's nice.
Maybe we can meet her and really live a good life.
Yeah.
Turns out,
absolutely
not.
I was looking at her and writing down her words of wisdom. What was it she said? Don't make checks, make equity. I said, yes, I will listen to these words. And then after she started cussing out everybody, calling the woman who won her £1 million a crackhead, I said, never mind. However, I am absolutely gagging to see how she possibly gets her comeuppance, which I think is a great draw in the pilot. So her character, I think specifically for me, is what I would say was one of the standout things from the pilot.
Yeah. I also am interested to see the dynamic between her and her husband, because we've seen him in such an interesting light, but then we've heard about him quite, I guess, sweetly. I mean, we've been going strong for 16 years. So, you never know. And just like what the dynamic of her business is a little bit more. What is Beauty in Black? Why is the relaxer giving people cancer? I thought it was just fibroids it was giving people. I didn't know cancer too. That's crazy. So who knows? And I guess, will Kimmie get into beauty school? I feel like we should have heard about that in the first episode.
Yes.
Because she did say she'll hear about it. So I guess she was distracted by her friend bleeding out on the bed when she got home. But she should check her phone, see if she got that scholarship.
And on the flippity flip side, one thing that wasn't so good for me, and you've already alluded to this as well, is the writing, I think, was absolutely horrendous. And I think it just made the pilot bad. I mean, not alone, but
it wasn't just him.
It was a large contributing factor.
Because it feels like she's just been written so things can happen to her, as opposed to like establishing like who she is in any of these things. Because even the scene really when her mum is confronting the boyfriend, there's no like emotion from her to say like, yeah, he did do this and I'm really sad. Like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and even when she's being thrown out, she's just like, Mom, like, she doesn't say anything.
No, she doesn't.
It's really quite bizarre.
In fact, I have a line for you, which is one of my
great,
one of my favourite lines, because it was so bad. So when Kimmie's at the hotel room at the beginning, And she tries to start pleasing this, weird high roller who's Malory's husband. And he's like, no, stop it. Get the F out of here. Get the F out of here. And he says, stupid ass non-listening bitch. Stupid ass non-listening bitch. I was going to say you can't make this
I thought I
but
didn't know what was happening.
you clearly can. You can make these things up and you can make them up poorly.
Sometimes I feel like when they deliver the lines, they're saying it wrong and they just don't refilm it.
How would you have said it? How would you have called Kimmie a stupid ass non-listening bitch? Deliver the line for us, please.
And like,
So bad.
and he's like, I'm trying to take you out of the gut. Are you?
I'm trying to take you out of the shadows, but you look like you belong there.
And it's like, why? What is this dynamic?
It's
And it never resolves itself. You never understand why that's happening.
And his lines are so villainously bad. Like he's written like a caricature villain.
Yeah.
And he's just constantly swearing and like there's no artistry to to his words, to the dialogue. There's no artistry to any of the dialogue.
No, none of it really.
And I also do think it just went like, okay, it was a 43-minute episode. Probably could have been half an hour. There was a lot of long-windedness.
Those 3 flashbacks, absolutely unnecessary. You could have sprinkled those throughout the season. We do not need to know that Kimmie was man 18 at this point. That you could have had that one flashback there and then just continue. There's no need for us to know we don't need to know all of these things so quickly. It's like, why did 16 parts? What are they going to do in the rest of it? What is going to happen in the rest? This is wild. 16.
Yeah.
That is wild. Also, I have a question. Just one question. Really, Netflix?
Oh, that's your question?
Yeah. Like, they do a lot of bad films, and that's fine. We all have a bad film. I've watched some good bad films lately on Netflix. What on earth are they doing? A whole series? That's very insulting. They've cancelled good shows. They cancelled Chaos. I didn't finish Chaos or anything, but people love that. And they cancelled it. And then you're going to give us 16. I know it was made cheaply because it was Tyler Perry.
I was going to say, that's probably part of it is, yes, I think it's made cheaply, give them content, people will watch it.
Yeah.
And Netflix and Mr. Perry, Uncle Perry, T-Dot, T-Man, T-Money have a multi-year first look deal.
Is it first look? Because he also has a deal with Prime.
They've got first look. It's a first look deal. So I guess...
So Prime said no.
No. So if
Netflix say yes.
Yeah. So if Netflix said no to this, it would have been on Prime.
I mean, look, everyone makes bad movies. Everyone makes bad TV shows. But I'm not... How do I say it? It's bad because of him.
Because he does, in fact, write, direct, produce, create, exec. He is the puppet master to all of this, to all of his things.
And it's like, you must be very busy.
And too busy to put actual individualistic thoughts into each character's piece of dialogue. It's just
at all.
Words on a page, I could do words on a page.
Like very quickly, it's just like, we want... I think like he has like a structure of like, okay, this is a story I'm going to tell really quickly. They got to say words. She's a mean girl, blah, blah, blah. But this is too mean. But we'll see. I mean, maybe there'll be some characters who have some sort of redeeming features.
Exactly.
Moving forwards.
We've only met a very small handful of characters.
We met about 8.
But I think there's a lot more to meet from what I've seen from the
character list, maybe even the trailer. I do think the trailer looked good. The trailer didn't look like what we just watched. That's crazy.
Oh, do you know what? I didn't watch the trailer. I
can't remember really the trailer, but I remember thinking, it doesn't look bad. And now I'm like, what is this?
Do you have any specific lines or moments from the pilot episode?
I think when she like smashed into that person who was walking the road, crazy, wild. Because it was like she was distracted, but I don't know. She got out, she looked at her, and then was like, okay. It was just like...
But you know what, though? Not to victim blame, but it's the dark middle of the night, pouring down with rain. The jogger was in the middle of the road.
Well, we'll find out more, though.
Maybe she was crossing the road, to be honest.
We'll find out more. I'm not gonna, go straight to...
She did have her headlights on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. She didn't clip the woman off the side of the road. Like, the jogger wasn't on the side of the road. She swerved and hit her. The jogger was in the middle of a rainy road at night.
You're making points.
I I'm not saying that she shouldn't.
Maybe it was her staff that she'd forced to walk on the streets.
Now, based on everything that we've talked about, here are the reasons that I think somebody might like Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black.
So diplomatic. Go on.
I'm just here to, give opinions, argue both sides of the coin. I think if you love a messy drama, because I do think Tyler Perry's shows and movies have an audience. I think
they do, yeah.
I think that's why he does have this multi-look first-year deal with all these production companies. He is making a lot of money from these things. So I think if you like a messy drama...
You like a messy drama, you want to see black people you've never seen on anything else before, it's...
Then Beauty in Black.
Yeah, it's for you.
It's for you. I also do feel like if you're the kind of person that likes holding all the narrative cards, so we know a lot of things that the characters don't yet know.
Yeah.
And you're almost waiting for that moment where the character finds out that, oh, you don't know that that's actually so-and-so. Like, for example, I keep forgetting her name, Kimmie doesn't know who her mysterious forced sex partner is.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know who his wife is.
Yeah.
So, but we know. I'm waiting for that moment to come where she gets her scholarship.
Connections, yeah.
She gets her scholarship. She meets Malory, and then Malory says, "And this is my husband." If you live for that shit,
or like if she does know, then that will be quite interesting at the same time, also because it's like then when you made that phone call, were you aware that this is someone that you admire, and then earlier in the day gone and seen at a conference? So I guess that is quite interesting. There's little bits of like, oh, okay. We know a lot of things here. Let's see how it will play out, I guess.
So if you like that, then it might be for you. But on the flippity flip side, there are some reasons why Beauty in Black might not be for you. Firstly, again to mention, it's messy.
It's messy, literally physically on paper messy, and in the amount of drama messy.
Yeah. And if you don't like a messy drama where you're like, why are all these characters moving mad for absolutely no reason whatsoever, please get yourself out of this situation. You literally have the tools to get yourself out of this situation. Then you might not like Beauty in Black.
No.
And also, if you just prefer, let's just say, a level of complexity to characters,
and writing and like story forming.
Yeah.
Just for a pilot episode, I don't mind a lot happening in a pilot episode, but like.
Yeah, let's just say you don't have to work too hard with this pilot episode.
No.
So if you prefer to be engaged with the program that you're watching, it's not going to be for you. Personally, for me, I would give this pilot a pilot score
of,
guess, out of 5.
2.5.
Close. I try not to do 0.5s.
Okay.
We're going to round that shit down. It's getting a 2 out of 5 for me.
I do.
Because I do think that the plot was interesting. But obviously the writing and the over-milked scenes really just sort of sets it back entirely.
Poorly executed.
What would you give it?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with like the 2.5 region. It's like not very well put, but not really well executed. The dancing wasn't very good. The acting was quite mid. The flashbacks were unnecessary.
You hate those flashbacks.
I found them so. I was like, they never came in scenes where you're like, oh, I wonder what the story. Sometimes it just popped in for no reason at all. Like Rain and Thingy weren't even together when they flashed back on them. Anyway, all of that. But I feel like if I watched the next episode, I would maybe watch the one after. It's one of those ones where it's like, oh, I'm really watching this bad show. But if something cut me off and I didn't continue, I'd probably just be fine not watching it ever again. So it's like, if I watched it, I'd watch it. But I'm not like, oh my God, I need to know what happens next. Okay. Oh, I really need to get to the conclusion of this drama. Oh, no.
It's just on.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I do applaud that it's relatively short because I feel some kind of way about everything being an hour and 2 minutes, 55 minutes. It's a 43-minute show.
They only do that in very good dramas, don't they?
No, exactly.
Don't just start making things long for no reason.
And that's why we've got a nice, easy 43-ish minute watch. So are you saying that you will not? You'll see how it goes? You'll hedge your bets. If you go home right now, what are you going to put on? Is it going to be episode 2?
No, I've got other things to watch.
We're going to just give you the category of no. So Satema will not...
You know, I actually say that. I was like, you know what it was? Because obviously I had to stop watching it But I think if I didn't have to stop watching it, I would have continued watching it. Do you know what I mean? But now I've stopped. Will I go back?
No.
No. I just have other things to watch. But then maybe also.
Yeah, you could be tidying your room and being like,
yeah,
I want some
I don't know, I've just got big plans. I've had nothing else going on. I'd like, okay.
Yeah, you've got a bit of messy drama in the background.
Yeah.
This is waiting for you. Whenever you're ready, Kimmie and her drama will be waiting
Once I'm
for
done
you.
with my other stuff, because like, you know, weekly new things come out. Got to go watch Disclaimer and stuff. Got things to do. Please.
And you know what? It's interesting because I think on a technical level, no, I will not be continuing with this program. However, almost in a academic way, I want to see how this plays out. I haven't watched a lot of Tyler Perry film series. I'm quite interested to see what that looks like. So from a learning perspective, I may continue watching a couple of episodes, but I also don't really want to, I don't think I've got that time to waste either.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We will see. But I would also just put myself in the no category. But if I'm not watching another couple of episodes...
I will say of Tyler Perry series I have watched for a few episodes or a season, I will say this feels like the weakest start of most of them. Like I watched one called Sisters and like it was entertaining for a while, then it got silly, but this was just at the beginning, it was like, wow.
Will you be recommending this on Sassy Jam Recommends?
I will recommend, but I will be critical, but I will also tell them if they want to hear my full thoughts, they can come listen to this podcast.
That's brilliant. Of course you will.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me this week. And a massive thank you to Satema for joining us on The Pilot Principle. Yay you. Remind us where we can find you.
You can find me on Sassy Mama, that is my personal page. But if you want to hear me talk more about TV, please follow Sassy Jam Recommends on TikTok. Yeah.
Brilliant. I will be linking all her socials over on Instagram and Twitter at Pilot Principle. I have no clue what we are reviewing next week, so keep an eye on socials or prepare to be pleasantly surprised. Either way, I will catch you in the next episode. Aww.